Here we go. Here we go. This is the bucking truth. All right. If you're a diehard Denver Broncos fan, all right, and you love the Denver Broncos like we do, then you're in the bucking right place, right?
Yes, sir.
That's right. So I'm Jared Brown. This is my co-host of the Bucking Truth, Jeffrey Mark Brown, and you're in for a bucking good ride. All right. So we talk about all things Denver Broncos. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good, my brother. How are we doing?
I'm doing great, man. It's Valentine's Day, and so what more can we really share than our love for the Denver Broncos?
Love for the Denver Broncos.
Right. So let's celebrate Valentine's Day and celebrate our love for the Denver Broncos, right?
That sounds great.
All right, sounds good to me, my brother. So last week we talked a little bit about, some changes and what we wanted to see as far as improvements, because the Denver Broncos led in I think they were number 2 in the most drop passes in the NFL from wide receivers. Yeah. So that's something you and I have been talking about for months.
Yeah, not just wide receivers. Like overall,
I know,
We're talking tight ends,
fullbacks, right?
Tyler Day, so
Nate Adkins, all of them in general, right?
Yeah, not just
even Cortland Sutton. As much respect and love as we have for Court, he's had some drop passes. So that is just like a big thing that we feel could really change the dynamic of the team if they improve on just catching more passes instead of dropping.
Yeah, right. Exactly, because they add up.
We also talked about some potential changes in the wide receiver room and maybe some changes in tight end. Now, whether that means they release Evan Ingram or they keep him. He's on a 2-year contract, so maybe they just keep him instead of releasing him, and they draft another tight end, because the writing may be on the wall, although I hope he stays, but Troutman is a free agent. And if they don't keep Troutman, then that means they may draft a tight end,
They have to. They have to draft a tight end, especially when they didn't draft one last year when it was the greatest draft of all time for tight ends.
You know what I mean? Right. It was.
The board, that's the way the board kind of felt.
Yeah, right.
They have to come up with a tight end in the draft.
There's got to be a solution for it.
Yes,
exactly. It's been a weakness or a vulnerability of theirs for the Broncos, the Denver Broncos, for some time now.
Long time.
This could be their chance to definitely resolve that issue. So those are, and other than, we want to talk about that mostly today is wide receiver and tight end. Okay. And a couple of choices they have in the draft in particular would be, of course, Kenyon, Sadiq.
Tight end.
Right.
Oregon.
That's right. Out of Oregon. Right. And
another Duck.
The really cool thing about him is that he's got a big build, brother. He really does. He's kind of big. And what have you seen from him?
Well, from what I can tell, there's already been a few mocks already, potentially, with the Broncos taking him at 30. I don't know if he's going to make it all the way there.
He may not be available, is what you're saying?
Yeah. And supposedly he is the top ranked tight end. So it's not like, say, in last year where you had Warren, you had Loveland that went top 12, 2 of them.
Right.
So it's definitely not as top heavy. So I don't know how much ready he'll be right at the start. So that's kind of
that is a question mark, right?
But he does have talent, that's for sure.
Yeah, I love his build. And if there's any criticism that I have for Evan Ingram is that he really has more of a wide receiver sort of build instead of tight end. And because he doesn't block well, let's just be honest. He's not necessarily a blocking tight end, right?
Yeah, I think at this point he'd be like a very tall, big slot receiver.
Yes, and so that, and so in my mind, and I may be wrong, but I think that may be the reason why he didn't break out for the Denver Broncos is that last season, because he is kind of has a slender build and his tight end blocking skills aren't necessarily up to snuff, that limited his time on the field.
Oh, it definitely did, yeah.
He'd only be on the field for, well, passing situations.
Yeah, I mean, you would look at the snap counts at the end of the game, and he would have like what, 20 maybe, you know?
Yes, right. And so
it's hard to get into a groove, and plus I say he had a lot of drops, and so I don't know how much confidence Bo had in him.
So let's take a look at solving that solution with a potential draft pick who may or may not be available at 30, which is where the Denver Broncos are in the first round. Let's hope he is, but let's take a look. I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to take a look at him. So let me. All right, Kenyon Sadiq 2025 highlights. Yes, Kenyon. All right, so here we go. All right, so here is the screen, and I'm going to share this. I'm going to click play. We're going to take a look at some highlights here. So, all right, so here we go right here. He's obviously in the green. He's an Oregon Duck.
Yeah.
Okay, and as you can see, number 18 right here, his arms. Holy cow.
Yeah.
Kenyon Sadiq's his legs. That's what I meant by his build. He's got such a good build. I mean, look at that. That's awesome. I really like his build right. You know, he could with that build, if they're in a blocking situation, let me put that here again because I like this. I like the screen in the middle. Let me change that again. But with that build, he really has more of a here we go. I got to move me now. All right. So here we go. I got a little cute here. All right. Anyway, so let me, while I'm doing this, I'm going to pause that so we can get him back on. There we go. I switched it. Okay. And I switched it again accidentally. All right, here we go. It's like musical chairs.
There we go.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I don't know why it keeps moving. Hopefully it stays. Is it staying? Please stay. All right, staying. So I'm gonna rewind it a bit. Here we go. I'm gonna rewind a bit because I want to see this entirely. For a moment, it's gonna. All right. Okay.
You froze? Or?
All right. So here we go right here. Right here, the route.
I think you're frozen, bro. I think it's just me. So definitely, I don't know if he's going to be available at 30. I highly doubt it. You there, Jared? I'll just keep things rolling here. I don't think he will be available at 30. You never know, but I would be surprised, and I can't see the Broncos trading up for him. So we'll check out after if there are other tight end options later on in the draft. Like I said, I know it's not. Last year was like the draft of all drafts for tight ends.
Mm-hmm.
From what I understand, there are going to be some good quality tight ends that Broncos will be able to grab later on, second round, third round, fourth round, something like that. But it's imperative that they improve the tight end room, because it's just
definitely
the numbers are abysmal for the tight end production.
Definitely. Yes, it's imperative. I like that word that you used. It's very necessary and imperative that they solve that problem, because if we had a bigger presence with the tight end, you're going to see more concepts for a tight end on third down conversions, third down plays, or end zone situations, right?
Exactly. And it's just so you see all these other teams. You see all these other great teams, and they all have contributions from the tight end.
Yes.
And Denver doesn't.
Right.
Always doing this without any tight end play.
Yeah.
Which is mind blowing. On top of that, like no running game either, hardly, once JK went down.
Right.
So just think for a second. Imagine if they have competent tight end play.
Oh my god!
So it's just they have to fix this. They have to fix this. Like I said, last year, just the way the board fell, they weren't able to pick one up. So this year, they have to, and I think there are some decent options in free agency that they can add to as well. We're talking Njoku, Goddard, but they have to figure something out.
They do. And I really like David Njoku, but my concern with him is you're almost taking on another chance in regards to a guy, you're signing another free agent with the hopes of him not getting injured, and that we've already been through that with two other free agents. I love Dre Greenlaw, but he did miss some time because of an injury. And of course, J.K. Dobbins. Now, pump the brakes. I get it. You guys don't come at me in the comments. I know that J.K. Dobbins' injury wasn't really his fault. It was more of a illegal hip drop tackle, and that's why he was injured. But nonetheless, he does have a history of being injured.
He does, unfortunately, which is so unfortunate.
It is. I love J.K. We both do.
He was a top 5 running back.
And so that's really only my small concern with David Njoku, but I love his pass catching skills, and he's a bigger tight end.
Yeah.
And so he wouldn't be off the field with blocking situations like you see with Evan Ingram. So we'll see what happens. That is something that we're gonna the Denver Broncos need absolutely. It's imperative.
It's not I hope, maybe it's
it's a prerequisite, absolutely. But let's take a look at a guy you mentioned. I believe you did. Yeah, I think you did last week. Is Mike Washington Jr.
Yes, Washington Jr. That's nice.
Let's switch to him. Right. Let's switch to him, because I really think that in the draft, if we were to look at Mike Washington, he's very versatile, which is why I like this guy. He's very versatile. He's a good patch. He can catch the ball very well. So I'm going to share my screen again. Hopefully it doesn't cause problems like before, because I froze up a little bit when we were doing this.
So good.
All right, here we go. So I'm going to change it, and we're going to look at Mike Washington. Here we go.
Out of Arkansas.
Mike Washington Jr. out of Arkansas, yes. So look at this. All right, the guy right here, he's going to be in the white and red because he plays for Arkansas. Look at this
big
guy.
boy
He's got
go.
speed.
Look at that big boy go.
Yes. He's got speed, and he's shifty. He's got good vision too, which I really like. He's got really good vision. I mean, look at this. Wow. I mean, I love that highlight right there, because he what and he's just off to the races right there. Beautiful, beautiful. Look at him run. I mean, this would be a good pickup because this way, if you didn't pick
I
up, say,
would-
J.K. Dobbins, you didn't re-sign J.K. Dobbins, right? If you didn't, then what you're having is here, and you draft this guy, is that he's a
And we lost our boy again. Yeah, Mike Washington. He's incredible. He's incredible. I first props to the Mace, Andrew Mason.
yes,
He was doing Senior Bowl coverage, and he was just gushing over him. And I think he would be an amazing pickup. It's going to be so fascinating what happens with the running back position, because it's obvious that Denver is in the market for a running back, and there's some good options in free agency, as we know.
Yes.
Breece Hall, Algier, Etienne, and then it's the J.K. Dobbins question. We know Sean Payton loves him. J.K. loves Denver, loves Sean Payton. It's just with the injury history, would they go, big time fishing for one of the bigger, maybe safer guys just out of health, or do they have an agreement with JK? But if they do, which I'm all for, I'm no problem if that's the route they chose. But if they do, then they actually have to have a contingency plan, or I don't want to say the inevitability when JK gets banged up, they have to have a JK clone to step in for him.
Yeah.
Mike Washington would be amazing.
Oh my God. Yeah, it would be a great draft pick. I would be super happy if they pick him at running back. He would instantly project some excitement because this guy has a lot of energy. And he'd be, in my opinion, a perfect complement to RJ Harvey.
Yeah, exactly. Just really right where I was going to go.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. They would really complement each other very well.
Exactly.
That would be a wonderful sort of duo right there. I think that he's young enough that, and he's young enough that he doesn't have a history in college that I looked. All right. When I looked at it, it's not like he's already torn his ACL or had some sort of big injury yet. Okay. Knock on wood. Yeah. Sure. Hopefully I didn't just jinx him, but I really would. I would be excited, and I'd love to see in the comment sections from our fans here what they think about that and what their comments are in regards to what we've been talking about. With a Kenyon, Sadiq, and Mike Washington Jr. at the running back. These two guys, if we were to draft these two guys, if that would solve some of the issues that the Broncos have had at running back and tight end. I think it's not a sure thing, but I really think these are two really good options to solve those two problems.
Yeah, no, of course. So see how the draft board falls.
Yeah, let's see where it falls. But I think that those are really two good options. I really do.
Yeah. Like I said, definitely they need vast improvement in the tight end and the running back room. It's just incredible. Like I said, I just keep going back. It's incredible what Bo accomplished without a running game once JK left.
Really, it is
no contribution from tight end.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
Absolutely, it's very incredible. And I think that's a testament to what kind of player he is, because there are some quarterbacks that absolutely need pieces in the system for them to succeed and flourish. Mm-hmm. And then there are other quarterbacks that make the other players better and make their teams better.
Exactly.
And if you remember, okay, when John Elway willed his teams to the Super Bowl
by himself,
okay, he really almost single-handedly had his whole team on the back. Because
no offense to the three amigos.
No disrespect to Mark Jackson, Vance Johnson, and Ricky Nattiel. I think those are the three. Okay, they were good wide receivers, but they weren't they weren't names that that propelled their teams to the Pro Bowl, right? They weren't like playmakers
We didn't
necessarily.
have a run
John Elway
game.
made them playmakers,
Yeah.
but they weren't. If they were on other teams, they probably wouldn't even be playing as a wide receiver 1 or maybe even wide receiver 2.
Right.
So respectfully, and that's what kind of makes me believe that Bo Nix again has that intangible.
Absolutely.
Whereas other quarterbacks don't, is that he really makes the other players on the team much better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't want to compare, but look at the Patriots teams in the past when Brady. He had these no-name receivers and running backs.
Right. It wasn't until they traded for Randy Moss did he really have a Pro Bowl wide receiver. And Tom Brady was throwing to like Troy Brown and and all these other guys that weren't big names either. And so Tom Brady is another great example of a guy who made other players better.
Exactly.
It's what great elite passers do.
Yeah.
Peyton Manning, he made Julius Thomas from the Broncos a much better tight end.
And a very rich man in Jacksonville.
He did, and Brandon Stokely was very good. He played well for the Baltimore Ravens and won a Super Bowl with them.
Yeah.
Went over to Colts and then even with the Broncos and was good, but he always had his best statistical seasons with Peyton Manning.
Oh, exactly.
And we all know why.
So that's why it's imperative that they add more weapons at tight end and running back to take pressure off Bo, so Bo doesn't have to do everything. And what was in the Buffalo game?
Right.
Bo accounted for like 85% of the offense, something like that. Between him throwing that's insane. And it's not sustainable.
It is insane.
It's not sustainable.
Right.
So, got to get both.
Very hard to sustain.
Got to get both some help.
Yeah. Got to get him some help. Preferably just some guys that are what I call good locker room guys. All right. I'm not against like it. I think Sean Payton has a tough-nosed, hard-nosed sort of personality that he can deal with personalities like a George Pickens or an AJ Brown. But do I prefer that? I really don't. Okay. Because I want the Broncos to have just a great culture where if there's maybe one game or two games where they're struggling offensively, that you don't have like this diva that's complaining because he didn't get the ball.
Yeah.
And Cortland Sutton is like the epitome of a great wide receiver who never complains. Great example of how you want your wide receiver room to act when they're maybe the offense isn't clicking, if you know what I mean.
No, for sure. So no, I agree. Like I know there's a lot of rumors, speculations about big wide receiver fishing, whether it's AJ Brown or Pickens, and personally, I don't see it. I really don't see it happening. We'll see, but I'd be surprised.
You'd be surprised if the Denver Broncos do that, and I think that's a valid point. Because Sean Payton's generally very what's the word I'm looking for? He's very calculated, and I think that having gotten so close to the Super Bowl, I think he wants to make a jump forward. But I don't know that because he's so calculated, I'd be very surprised if he makes a move that could possibly have them go backwards because of a bad personality in the locker room.
No, so I maybe in free agency they bring in like a mid-tier veteran wide receiver, but I just really can't see a Pickens or an AJ Brown coming in.
Right. So if something were to happen, and I don't know if it does, I know they were close, but they never quite found that it was going to work, is that they came close, whatever that means, because that's a relative term, but they were looking at Jalen Waddle
At the trade
last year.
deadline.
It just
Supposedly, that's what you
right,
hear,
allegedly, and if that were to work, I'd be more happy with that because I don't know that he would be a disruption, and I think that he and Cortland Sutton would gel, as well as the other wide receivers, Troy Franklin and Pat Bryant. I think that would
I agree. That might be the
Tyler.
one that I might be okay with, kind of, Yeah.
I would be really happy with that.
Yeah,
because I think that his personality is more suited towards the Broncos culture and the Mile High magic it may produce. So to speak.
Exactly. Yeah. So we'll see what happens, but I think of those three, that would probably be the one that I'd be okay with myself.
Cool. Me too. So, at any rate, I mean the Denver Broncos have a lot of choices. The draft and free agency. We've talked about a couple of guys that they could draft. Maybe Kenyon Sadiq may be available, and Mike Washington Jr. May be available at running back for the Denver Broncos. Either way, they could also look at free agency. Breece Hall is a free agent, and then you've got guys like Tyler Algier, and there are tight ends that they could look at. Let us know in the comment section, you guys, what you think the Denver Broncos should do, and if you think that the guys we presented as possible draft choices would be good choices, or if we've neglected or forgotten to add some other choices that you think could be good fits as well.
What do you think they do, free agent running back?
You
on the spot.
My gut feeling is that they do sign JK again, but that doesn't mean that they don't draft a running back.
Oh no, it's 1 + 1 = 2 on that one. If they bring JK back, they have to draft someone like a JK Dobbins 2.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to be in that situation where he gets injured again and they don't have the same running game.
Oh, exactly.
And so I do that. I don't know if it happens, but my gut is telling me they may sign him again.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, because last year they didn't sign him until June or something.
It was late, right?
So
you're right.
Would they sign him before? Because you kind of want to have something before the draft, because if you miss out on all the others
on the draft choice,
then you're like, okay, we really got
to
because I know with George Payton, he likes to fill all the holes he can as possible in free agency, then hit the draft and play the board kind of thing. So
right.
It'll be interesting what they do there. If they make an agreement with if they're going with JK to do that before the draft, or if they're looking at other options as well. I don't.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
I don't see them signing Breece. I think because he's the big ticket item.
He would be. He'd be the big fish. Of course.
Maybe more Algier, because he would kind of fit more first down, second down.
Yeah.
And then if Harvey in his role, and I think Harvey will get better at protecting the quarterback and everything.
I certainly wouldn't be unhappy if they do sign Breece Hall. I almost see Tyler Algier as a better fit, because to me you could leave that guy there on third down, and he'd be a great blocking running back on third down. If you have
Breece doesn't come off the field. Breece doesn't come off the field.
He doesn't, and he would block, but I'm just saying Tyler's a little bigger, and I think he would block better.
If you have Breece, what does that take away from RJ? How many?
Yeah, you're right. That's a good point. I hadn't thought of it that way. As Breece,
they're
almost
you want a good
the same guy.
So maybe Algier would be a better
different.
Complement,
Yeah, they're two different backs, right? And so they're complementing each other versus competing.
It's really going to be interesting.
Competing with the similar
how it's going to turn out.
Yeah.
I love JK.
Me too.
I love JK. It sucks that he got hurt, and he always gets hurt. And
it does.
I would just love for him to have.
And it was an illegal. It was an illegal tackle that got him injured, and so I that's why I almost don't. I wouldn't be unhappy if they sign him, because it's not like he had poor conditioning, and it was something that he could have prevented. It was an illegal tackle, so if they do sign him, draft a guy like Mike Washington Jr. and have a backup plan,
exactly.
an insurance policy, right? Yeah.
That's my call. Anyway,
I like that. I do. I've been thinking more about that since last week, and I've watched some film on Mike Washington Jr., and the more I see his film, the more I like that guy. And so, man, hopefully the Broncos look at him just like you and I have, and they take him seriously. Maybe they watch our video and they get inspired to draft him, and then they send us Jeffrey and Jared Brown a thank you.
No problem, boys. No problem. Our pleasure.
Right. Just hashtag the Bucking Truth, Broncos, okay? The Denver Broncos, if you draft him and you got inspired by us, then just put hashtag the Bucking Truth, okay?
Love it.
That's all we ask.
That's it.
That's the Bucking Truth.
It's like I was telling you this week, this next month is going to be so. There's going to be so much rumors.
It's going to be juicy. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's going to be exciting. Buckle up. Okay, it's the Bucking Truth, and we're saying buckle up, Broncos Country,
I said,
the Denver Broncos George Payton has said they're going to be aggressive. So whatever that means, okay, they're going to be aggressive. And I think
what was the term Mr. Penner used?
Responsibly or
aggressive.
Yeah, right. I mean, they're not going to make anything that's going to be silly. They're not going to sign another guy like they did Russell Wilson and sign him out of panic mode like they did before. They've learned from their mistakes, I think, and they don't want to put themselves in another cap space hell, so to speak, with dead cap space like they did with Russell Wilson. They're now gone and removed from that cap space from Russell Wilson. And so hopefully they use this opportunity a little bit more wisely.
And we're going to see what's happening in the next couple of weeks with regards to contract restructures, extensions, cuts.
Yes. And the thing is that we'll end this a little bit by just saying, okay, the Denver Broncos had a magical season. Neither he or neither one of us really thought at the beginning of the season that they would be winning 15 games and they'd be the number one seed in the AFC. I never imagined that, okay? Right. And to come that close, okay, to a Super Bowl appearance was just awesome. And we all have speculated, and we all as Broncos fans deep down inside know that if Bo Nix didn't fracture his ankle, okay, the Broncos would have been in the Super Bowl. And for all those thinking it was a boring Super Bowl, all right, the Denver Broncos would have put some more flavor and spice on that Super Bowl, I guarantee. I don't know, and I can't guarantee they would have won it, but I do know that they would have made it a lot more competitive. I guarantee that. But anyway, so the thing is that the Chargers now have a new offensive coordinator, Mike McDaniels, and the former Miami Dolphins head coach. And did you hear, and I don't remember what title he has, but John Fox is going to have a job with the Bills. Yeah, former Denver Broncos head coach John Fox is going to have some sort of position with the Buffalo Bills. So the Buffalo Bills, having lost to the Denver Broncos, are really making a bunch of changes. They've poached they've poached the Denver Broncos coaching staff a little bit, and which is very flattering. Okay, because when you look at the Denver Broncos and you start poaching their staff, it's very flattering. So they look to try to right the ship in their own way. And you've got the Ravens with a new head coach, and there's going to be some different looking teams out there, right? Because the Chargers, even though they still have Jim Harbaugh, okay, will they try to make their offensive line better. I know that Joe Alt was a great draft choice, and with him getting injured, they didn't have the depth to overcome that, right? And the Chiefs, well, Patrick Mahomes, unfortunately and very sadly, tore his ACL, and that's generally roughly a 9-month recovery period. And so he may not be back until roughly, okay, I'm not a doctor, but maybe sometime mid-season. Yeah. So it's going to look a little bit different. The Raiders have a new head coach, Clint Kubiak, son of Gary Kubiak, and Clint Kubiak used to be an assistant coach with the Denver Broncos, and he's the son of Gary Kubiak, former head coach, former offensive coordinator of the Broncos, and former backup quarterback to John Elway, Gary Kubiak. His son, Clint Kubiak, who has been with the Seattle Seahawks and just won a Super Bowl ring with the Seattle Seahawks. So that's going to be interesting, you know, with the Raiders, and if they'll draft Fernando Mendoza, and if that will make them better. Now, I don't know. Okay, will the Raiders just be the same? Will the Chargers just be the same? I think so, but who knows? Maybe not.
We're fixing to find out.
Yeah, we are. I reckon we'll find out, you know, sooner versus later. But man, thanks for hopping on. You guys, this is the Bucking Truth, and we appreciate you subscribing, and write something in the comments section. All right, what you think the Broncos should be doing.
Yeah, I would love your comments and feedback.
Yeah, thank you. Anyway, thanks, my brother. Have a beautiful weekend, man. Thanks for hopping on. Yeah, thanks, man. Happy Valentine's Day, and may the love of our Denver Broncos be celebrated on Valentine's Day. Thanks, you guys. All right. Peace, man. I'm out.